Hello YouTube. This is BalorMage again, and we are looking in the background here at a under 2 divine version of our poison SRS build. This build is not even using the chest. It is in the absolute lowest budget that I could make it function. Anything under 2 divines, where we're at right now, you don't want to be doing a poison version. You can league start SRS. It's an entirely different build when it's not a poison variant. We're looking for what's the minimum entry cost for poison, and we are under 2 divines. So in the background, you can see it's still mapping tier 16 maps pretty reasonably. At the end of this video, we will attach the SRS kill we did, so you can see a really good amount of DPS on a barely 2 divine version. We have a lot to go over in the path of building. So we're going to jump in game and have a look at the character and then have a look at the path of building. There is a lot going on here. All right, so this is in game. This is the character. I have left 7 points unspent because my character is level 97 and I'm actually just sort of simulating level 90. I do have a tiny bit more life just from getting 7 levels, even though I haven't spent the passive points. But I'm not de-leveling my character from 97 to level 90 to do a test run. So you get what you've got. So you'll have a tiny bit less life than this, but not a lot because I haven't spent the points. So our real important things that we actually need is going to be to get our poison chance to 100%. There's a lot of different ways we can do it. The way we were doing it in the original build was using poison chance jewels to get from 60 to 100. The way I'm doing it in the budget version is I'm using a 5-link dendrobate that gives you level 10 chance to poison as a support. That covers the other 40% that I need right off the bat. You could also just wear a tabula and use the poison or lesser poison supports. I think just the poison one. You could also use any other chest that was 6-linked and use the poison support, and that would make it. Or if you can find really cheap poison jewels, you can just use any chest you want. Obviously the chest we were using, the flat added chaos one, whose name I've suddenly forgotten, is the best chest that you could possibly wear, but it's also like 4 divines right now and it's only going up. It's called the Covenant. That's right, the Covenant is the best chest we could get. That level 29 added chaos is disgusting, but it's getting expensive. The chest is already twice the price of this entire build that I've put together here. So starting out on a budget, this is what we've got. So big differences between the other build is we're using a surrender shield, which might be the most expensive item on the entire build. That is to get some heal on block, because we did give up a lot of our defenses. We gave up suppression cap entirely. We don't suppress at all, but we did manage to stay block capped and spell block capped. So we're using the surrender just to keep our tankiness in a pretty good spot. We gave up the anoint on our amulet because it's golden oils and that's too expensive. And we gave up all of the jewels. So moving into the path of building, I've done a lot here. For starters, in the notes section, we've gone over absolutely everything that we need for the budget SRS build to exist. We've also gone over the prices of everything, and everywhere where it's relevant, I have posted some trade links so that you can look for those items yourself. You can look for bone rings that have a combination of stuff, look for well-rolled jinxed judus, helmets, boots, your other ring that isn't the bone ring, gloves, cluster jewels, what those need to look like. There's abyss jewel searches right here for the normal ones, and then for really, really good ones to go in your abyss jewels, in your belt. All up, being super generous, the entire build head to toe cost me 380 chaos. Realistically, it didn't actually cost me 380 chaos because most of these I bought significantly cheaper than I've listed. So like I'm listing abyss jewels at 10C each, but with this search I was buying abyss jewels for 1 to 3C. I've said they're 10 because I expect them to go up a little bit. When I bought jewels for my belt, I bought them at 29 and 30C. I counted them as 50C each. We've overestimated every single item and provided links to everything there so that you can buy all of the gear you could possibly need. It's definitely going to come in at under 2 divines. as you can see, we do have 9.3 million single target here still, which is absolutely insane when you're in a price range that low. I've also listed our Animate Guardian gear. Yes, your Animate Guardian is important. No, you can't just not have him. He's also practically immortal. We brought him into SRS and he didn't even take damage. He's also incredibly cheap to put together, and there are 2 options for your chest. This is important. The Garb of the Ephemeral makes you a lot tankier. Costs 15 to 20 C right now. It's great. It's the chest I'm using. If you're really worried about your Animate Guardian, you can use Doppelganger's Guise instead. 25 to 30 C makes your Animate Guardian super giga tanky. I don't think he can die with Doppelganger's Guise on, but I've been using Garb of the Ephemeral even in the budget version, and it's still not died or taken really any damage at all. So I prefer the Garb, but if you are worried about it, use Doppelganger's Guise instead. We also made a little bit of a note on leveling gear. Basically, the Cider Breath Amulet, She Breath, I think it's called, is how you pronounce it, will carry you all the way to part 2. And Mark of the Red Covenant as a helmet to level with will carry you all the way to maps. Basic 4-link start into a 6-link, just listed there. We also have some trees in here. We have some trees to help people level. Basic 12-point tree, 30, up to 50, 70, 90, and then up to level 90. Right? That should cover your entire leveling area. Now, we are still using 1 cluster jewel. You'll notice that this point is a 10-point cluster jewel. Actually not that important. You can go 8 to 12. It almost doesn't matter, especially when you're on this budget. These travel nodes being 10% damage each are still pretty relevant. So, perfect world, we end up with 12-point clusters with increased effect and extra stuff on them, and like life rolls or chaos res or attack speed, things like that. Those are all great. Minimum world, all we really need is Call to Slaughter. Other notables actually make this worse. So while I don't care about getting extra travel nodes because they're all pretty decent DPS nodes, we do care about not having extra notables. We do only want Call to the Slaughter. That's the only good one. The main reason we want this one is because of the 30% move speed. I cannot overstate how much 30% move speed for your Summoned Raging Spirits will make your mapping experience a lot better. That's the main reason we're going for this one. Yes, it's got good damage. 15% damage and 10% attack speed is great. That's not the reason we care about it. We care about it because of the move speed. It is important. Right. What else do we do? Before anybody goes crazy, we have set up the Animate Guardian gear in here. So that is important. However, it does not apply. So in the custom modifiers area here, we have listed all of the stuff that the Animate Guardian does. That's why this stuff exists here. You can see even just if I take this off, we lose temp chains, which for single target loses us a pretty significant amount of damage. We can't apply 2 curses. The Animate Guardian can. So for real single target, he's adding a level 1 temp chains. So that's actually pretty important. As well as all of these other things, which, you know, it's all just added damage. It's great. We have 15 Wither stacks because we just always will. Feeding Frenzy is always going to be active because it always is. I put enemies near you. I don't really know why I ticked that. To be honest, it doesn't change the DPS at all. Let's just leave it off. We have selected our 2 Spectres. We've settled on the Pale Sephirim and Arena Master Spectres. So both of their buffs are up in this path of building. And they're there as well. What else have we got? Anything else? We're all set to Guardian. This is absolutely gross. I think that's just about everything covered. That is probably all the effort I'm going to put into a super budget version. I definitely would suggest, if you can afford it, getting the actual real chest and not just one of these cheap ways. But honestly, anything under 2 divines, don't re-roll is the answer. This is a 2 divine build at the absolute minimum with near infinite scaling. I could drop 200 divines on this build today and still get value out of it. So we can keep scaling this thing forever. But plenty of people are asking, what's the lowest I can start on? This is it. This is the lowest you can start on. The only other thing worth mentioning is that the absolutely do not skimp on the abyssal jewels that you put on the belt. In the belt specifically, it is very important damage wise that you get the minions deal damage if you've used a skill recently and flat chaos. Because the belt has 75% increased effect, those are really important. Whereas you can skimp on all the other jewels, those 2 jewels do not skimp on the damage potential off them. It's very, very important. It's also why in the notes we have 2 sections for abyssal jewels. We have abyssal jewels that I bought for 2 to 5C that I put everywhere in the tree. And then we have abyssal jewels for the belt that I paid 50 chaos each for, because those were pretty important. So different searches, really important. Obviously these jewels are better, so if you could put them everywhere, great. But trying to keep the price down, the ones in the belt become very important. All right, that is everything. There'll be a serious fight right at the end here, so you can see how quickly that does bosses. And we're gonna move back into the juiced expensive versions because I have the money and I like that. So I will see everybody next time.
Fury of the cosmos. Be utterly annihilated.
What's this? A real challenge? You've finally caught my attention.
I need more mana. When I'm ready, and not before.
Your
Bud?
lives are meaningless.
Well, that was quicker than I expected.
Rain of stars.
So the big advantage here of a build like this on 2 divines is that I have life and defenses and block and heal on block and all sorts of things to make me live, which is normally, it's not unreasonable to get this level of damage on 2 divines. It's not unreasonable. There are a bunch of different builds that can get this level of damage on 2 divines. They're all complete glass cannons that die if they get glanced at, but they do this level of damage on 2 divines. We didn't have to give up defenses or life or ability to map or speed of mapping or anything. We don't have to give up anything. We just do this much damage because we can.
Enough to warrant all this pain. Die.
This world is doomed. Why run? What's the point? Rain of stars. Be utterly annihilated. You are nothing.
I would love it if I could,
Annihilation.
Bud, can you just like, there we go.
Rain of stars.
Of death, my heart races. I am alive.
This world is doomed. Everlasting fire.
Feel the thrill of
The void.
All right, on under 2 divine